On this video, we're going to show you the Smart Learning Suite in the student mode. So what that means is we're actually going to walk you through so you can see what it looks like when your students are in Smart Learning Suite online. So your students will go to hellosmart.com and they'll join as a guest. They'll enter your class ID. They'll click Next. They'll enter their first name, and they'll join as a guest. So on the teacher side, the first activity we're having our students do today is called a label reveal. So our student is going to start the label reveal activity, in which they're going to be revealing different ways to make 10. So all they have to do is click on each label and it will reveal a way to make 10. So 0 plus 10, 1 plus 9, 2 plus 8, 3 plus 7, 4 plus 6, and 5 plus 5.
This next activity we have is called Shout It Out. Keeping with the theme of making 10, what I've done as a teacher, I've asked for students to give me different ways to make 10. So in this text box here, I type in as a student a different way to make 10, and I'm going to do 2 plus 8 equals 10. And then I click that, send respond. So I still have two options, or two more responses left. I'm going to go ahead and do 5 plus 5 and send that response. And do one more, and I'll do 3 plus 7. So as you can tell, I've already entered all my responses as a student. Let's switch over to the teacher side and see what that looks like there. So here are my responses that I sent. The 2 plus 8, 3 plus 7, and 5 plus 5. And you can see that it has the first 3 letters of my name, which is the Fred. As a teacher, I can move these around and sort them if I need to. I also could delete one or just click on one to show it full screen. Click on the X up here. Now if I don't want that 2 plus 8, I could delete it. I have to drag it to the trash can, and it asks me if I want to delete it. I do want to confirm it. And that's a Shout It Out.
So the next activity we're going to have our students do is called a response or an assessment activity. This is your formative assessment tool. So you'll see on my screen, I have my screen split into two. The screen on the left will represent the teacher view, and the screen on the right will represent what the student sees. So I'm going to stick with the screen on the right for a short time. And I'm going to be the student, and I'm going to go ahead and take this formative assessment. So I'm going to read my questions and make my answer. First one is just a multiple choice question. And then when I'm ready, I click the blue arrow at the top. The second one is a true-false question. So I click my answer and click the arrow at the top. The third one is a poll question, so I can have as many answer choices as I deem necessary. So I click my answer, click the arrow at the top. The next question is a multi-answer response, so there could be multiple correct answers. And the last question is a short answer or short response, in which I would type my answer. And so now I'm going to show you the teacher view after I submit my answers. And on the teacher view, you may have noticed that it was keeping track of the percentage of questions answered by my class. So I had 13% of students answered questions. And then I can go through while the students are working and I can see live results of their data. This is not something I would want to post on the Smartboard for all students to view while they're taking their assessment. I would just want to view this on my teacher station. So I'm going to show the live results of question number 1. And so I can see I had one student answer question D. So that way I have a heads up on what I need to review with my kids and how they're doing on their quiz so far. So I can flip through all of the answers. So I have some data about how they're doing so far. But whenever I'm ready to end the activity, I can choose to end the activity. So I'm going to end it now. And then on the left, I can see all of the students that were logged into our Hello Smart class at the time of the assessment. And so I can see how many questions they answered. So I can see Fred answered 5 out of 5 questions. And so I can view the data from the class. And at this time, it's going to show me what answer was correct. A great feature about the response and assessment is that I can export my class results to an Excel spreadsheet. Down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the button that says Export Results. And if I click on that, it downloads an Excel spreadsheet for me to view my class data for.
Okay, so let's do another Smart Learning Suite activity. The ones we have done so far have been individual activities where a student will do one activity and then that is it for the day or for that time. We're going to show you a way to do multiple activities all within one lesson. So here I have a super sort. As a student, I'm going to start the super sort. In this Smart Learning Suite activity, you have 2 categories that I've created as a teacher, and the objective of this is to get all these items and move them to the correct space. So clothes, I'm going to say, are goods. If it's correct, it sucks it in. If it's incorrect, so let's do doctors, and let's say that's goods, it shoots it back out. So the student would go through here and put all these items into the 2 categories and complete that activity. Once they are finished, then they could go to the bottom left and go to the second slide. So here's our next Smart Learning Suite activity. This is a fill in the blank. I'll start it. As you can see, the teacher has entered in text and there are some words that are missing. As a student, my job is to get the words that I feel are correct to fill in each sentence. So as you can see, I'm just going to go through there and fill all these in. Right now it is set for me to put all the words in, and then at the end it'll tell me which ones are wrong. But when creating these, you could have made it to where as soon as I put in that first one, if it's correct, it would show a check. If it's incorrect, I would have an X there showing that I missed that one. So once again, once the student has completed this activity, we can move to the third activity. Okay, this Smart Learning Suite activity is called Student Handout. So I'm going to start it. So this is a PDF that has been brought in, and I made it interactive. Over here on the left are all my menu tools for me to fill out these goods and services. So I have a pencil, where I could go in here and draw. I have an eraser, so I could clean up any mistakes. I have a way to import images. So I'm going to look for an image here, a good. And here's the images that were brought in. If I find one, I grab it and drop it in. By default, it'll be big, but I could always resize it from the corners and move it to the appropriate box. Okay, so that was the image. Below that, you have the font or text items. If I click on that and then click over here by the shoe, I could bring in that text for that shoe and edit any of the font I want. I could bold it, change the size, change the color, and then I can move it to where I want. Once again, I could resize it just like I did the image. Okay, so once I finish this handout, I can move on to the next one. The next Smart Learning Suite activity is a collaborative workspace. So I'm going to click Resume. And here's my team. I'm going to be on a team with Fred, Krisha, and Rachel. So this looks similar to the last handout that we had. Big difference is that I'm on a team with two other students where we're going to be filling out this information together. I still have all the menu items that I had on the left, so I could once again go in there and bring in an item. And put that in the appropriate spot. At the same time, my teammates could also put some things in there as well. As you can see, makes us look pretty came in, and that was put in by one of my other teammates. So let me show you what this looks like on the teacher side. So on the right of my screen is the student, on the left is the teacher side. I'm going to go to that slide, and let's go to the handout first that I did earlier. I could check on the student progress of that handout. So here's what Fred did. On the right is where the student was working on that handout. On the left, I would have every student who's already started working on that handout, I would have their sheet where I could look at it. You notice that when I clicked on Fred, I see exactly what Fred has done and is doing at the moment. As a teacher, I could go in there and collaborate on that and give him feedback. If you look on the right, Fred gets to see that check mark too. Now let's go to the collaborative one. Once again, here are my 3 teams, and I could click on one of the teams to see how they're doing. And give them any feedback that I feel like I need to give them. Okay, let's go back to the student side. So I've done my workspace. Here I had another shout it out to work on and a response for an assessment. There's even a speed up activity I could do on the board with the teacher. The last thing in this activity is a PDF that's set for view only. So on this, as a student, I cannot do anything to this workspace. Only thing I could do is read from it. And there are times where you would do that as a teacher. So this activity in Smart Learning Suite gave you the ability to do more than one activity all within one lesson.
So you just learned what it looks like in the student view when they're completing Smart Learning Suite online activities. If you'd like to continue with this series, you can continue with running through the teacher mode to find out what it looks like to create and edit lessons and push those out to student devices, or you can jump to the Smart Learning Suite online lesson library where there's the ready-made lessons that you can use or edit. And as always, if you need further assistance with the student side of the Smart Learning Suite activities, please make sure you contact your digital learning specialist for support.